We're back now. Sorry for the delay. I have right now here, first partner. You can't talk to Slash again because it'll just open up your menu. But you can do that somewhere else, and that'll be later in the game, and I'll come to that point when you can. But we're going to go to our first hub world now. So when you press A on the door, it'll take you to the key to return home, which obviously doesn't, if you use it, this is what's going to happen. Even if you are home, it's still going to load the home world, which is great log. So don't make the mistake of doing that. Every time you port back, though, Warabu will heal you fully, which is a really good thing to know. You can really abuse this mechanic in a couple places, not too many, but in a couple places you can abuse the mechanic a little bit to get some grinding really done quickly, and I'll talk about how that can be done later. So, within the first 4 or 5 steps of the game, you are forced to fight a battle. It will be between two enemies. This one here, the cacti ball, which is a plant-based monster. Now there are tons of different monsters in the game. The first one is slimes, which is the one you always get, which is your Slash right here, or a spot slime. Now, a spot slime is another type of slime, and he's this guy right here. And you can see that he looks much different than Slash. Yes, he's still a slime, but he's not really the same kind of slime. Anyways, so since this is the basics of the first level, I'm gonna go over fighting mechanics. And so basically, every time you walk on a child, just like Pokemon, anywhere in the hub world, you can technically be fighting a monster. Now, I'm going to be fighting this cacti ball here, and I'm going to actually see how my HP up here in the upper left-hand corner is down to 3. I'm going to die in my next attack. So if you press item, you obviously choose to either heal you or your enemy, which is an interesting little mechanic that they include in this game. And then the fight continues on as normal. So unlike in Pokemon where your Pokemon can't react, your monsters do react in this game. So keep that in mind. You cannot save out here. That's another thing. When you're in the hub world, you can't save. When you're in the overworld, you can't not save. You can't do that, but you can save anywhere on the inside, like the door shrines, or on the inside of pretty much any map. So I'm gonna use a pork chop on my enemy now, and this is what's called taming monsters. It's like throwing a Pokeball. It's the same idea, and you can use it at any point in the battle. And what that does, it makes them more friendly towards you, and it increases your chance that they're going to join your team. And then you now have 2 monsters. And just like in Gold, Silver, and their remakes, their actual just remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you have them follow you now in the actual overworld, which is really nice. I always like that detail, and every sprite is different depending on the monster. It's always really nice and really well done that way. Of course, that means you can now have 2 monsters, and you can only have up to 3 monsters. Now, unlike the newer games like Dragon Warrior Monsters Joker and Dragon Warrior Monsters Joker 2, you don't have to worry about size of the monster. It's just you're allowed to have 3. It doesn't matter how big or whatever, or however how what kind of monster they are. And so you're asked to come here to this town. And this is Calca here. And this is a great way to go over the inns. And inns here, basically, you can heal. And I do recommend you do it. Just go in, heal up real quickly. Because you're just gonna, And this guy here is a priest. And there are priests in almost every main town in the game. There are a few that don't have it. So make sure to know where they are, and you're going to learn them as we go along. But they can do 3 big things. Revive a monster, so once it dies, you have really no way of bringing them back. They're like fainting. So you have to come here and get them revived, or you go back home, are going to be your 2 main ways. Until you learn a certain skill called either Vivify, Revive, or one of the songs, or Sacrifice. And Sacrifice is, you sacrifice 1 monster and you revives the other 2. You have your Detox here, and then you have Uncurse. Now, Toxic is just like Poison, just like in Pokemon, same thing. However, Cursing is not like Paralyzation, so Cursing can do a bunch of different things. You have two stats. You have your HP and your MP. Your MP is for magic power, obviously, so you can do magic attacks. So when you have magic attacks in this game, when you run out of MP, you can obviously no longer do magic attacks, just like any other RPG. Same idea here, and I'm gonna go over what's gonna happen here. So the attack, defense, agility, intellect, and wild stats are the stats that you see on this sheet. The attack, just obviously how much attack you do, defense, how much damage you can take, agility, how fast you are, intelligence. Now, intelligence in this game is actually not your, it's actually not, it doesn't do anything with your, um, how should I put this? It doesn't do anything with your actual damage count. What it does is it determines how well the monster does when you are not commanding it. So when you just press the fight selection, what it's going to do, it's going to make its own decision, and that'll be based on what we call a nature. So if you press A on the monster, again on the info screen, you have the nature of the monster, hot blood is the best, what it is, what family it's in, that's a little symbol right there underneath the word slime, and then who was the original owner, just in case you somehow have a link cable to games, or or a VGA emulator that is possible of trading. I know one's out there, I just don't know where it is. And there's a lot of different natures, just like in Pokemon. This was always in this game, unlike the original Pokemon game. And obviously we have no skills. And then after that, there's a base monster and then the mate monster, and that will determine the family trees. And you can kind of use this to your advantage. You can see, what monster was in who made what monster, but you obviously have no need to do that now. So I'm going to be going over the more intricate ways of fighting later. And in here you're going to find another herb. But you want to enter here really quickly because there's an item in here that you want. And it's the beef jerky. It's so that you can tame another monster. Now the last stat that I wasn't talking about was the wild stat. Now the wild stat, what happens is the wild stat actually determines if a monster is going to listen to you in battle. The lower it is, the better. So usually at around 50, they will listen to you pretty consistently. At 0, they will always listen to you. That's 100% all the time. In the beginning, you have to worry about it a little bit, but afterwards, you don't have to worry about it almost at all. Now, I gave it beef jerky, and I'm hoping that it joins me, and it does. I actually got really lucky there. Beef jerky doesn't do as much as the pork chop, and the pork chop is almost a guaranteed gain. Now, there are a few things that are not always determined, and you may not have to feed a monster meat in order to get it to join you. You just have to win. And I know that sounds weird, but there's always a very, very, very small chance that a monster will join you without you feeding it any meat at all. And now we're going to come to the second town of the game, and this town here is actually really good. I always tell people to go in here and really go around and really open up item things. And try and, get as much items as you can for free, especially in the beginning of the game. Because the games go by really, really quickly, and it's really, really nice. So, you're supposed to come around here, and I obtained an antidote. I'm the leader of the circus. Scattering these to the stars. I'm the only one with circus. Would you like to join me as a star? In order to progress the storyline, you have to say yes, but I'm going to say no right now, so we have to go, because I want to go around real quick and open up a shop. So this is the first time you can actually buy things in the game. The thing that I recommend that you buy the most of is beef jerky. You want to pretty much buy all beef jerky. I'm going to buy 8, just so if I need to, I can go stop in and go to the inn and rest here. That's it. That's the only thing I'm going to do. So, down there are strong monsters in the well. Not really too much to say. I'm leader of a circus. So we're going to say yes. We're going to join the here. We're going to go to the castle here. And we're here to... If you read the text, you would know that we're here to pick up the title belt, because it's going to work as a naval. And try and substitute it in. So we're gonna come in here, and we're gonna do, it's a new little cutscene here for the king and all of his little peers. We're gonna have our monsters jump through a hoop of fire, just like your regular old circus. Um, so these guys here, they all really can't do anything. The cacti ball is pretty much standard. These are basically gonna be your first 3 monsters throughout the game. If you're very lucky, and I've gotten it a lot on the first tutorial battle, I've actually gotten monsters to join me just straight out of the gate. So after the performance, several of the members come back. Let's see here, if we open up the drawer, nothing in here. We're going to keep going. So basically what you want to do now is come back and go talk to the king. So you want to talk to him and see his treasures. And you want to see the thing, but basically what happens is you have to make a deal, and so what the deal is that you have to go out and help him solve why his people pretty much hate him. You know, probably because he sits around and does nothing all day. But hey, the only NPC that you really have to talk to is this one right here. And she tells you that the well is almost dry, and that now you kind of have no water to drink. So, in exchange, you come back here real quick and tell him that the well's running dry. The canal is managed by the village of Calica. Your Majesty must remind you, if that was done, Oasis will become drained immediately. I'll go to Calca and check myself. So, essentially, he tells you that, hey, you know, we need to get more water, you know, pretty much you're gonna pretty much die. So now you have to go back to that original first village. I know it's not very scripted, but that was always the curse of these kind of games back in the day. And actually what I recommend here, if you want to, or if you're not used to the game very much, is to actually go back and go to the gate and heal. That's actually essentially what I'm going to do relatively quickly before we go and take on the next part of this adventure, because you're gonna take a lot of damage relatively quickly, and they hit rather hard for right in the beginning of the game, considering you really don't do too much in that form. So I'm just gonna go back, and when I mean heal, I'm just gonna run back really quickly to Great Log and heal up. This is a great time to kind of use this to your advantage, because it's a free heal. It's basically resting at an inn, but it also cures your poison, curses, being dead, literally all those things, and you don't run the risk of, you know, dying any point. You get your MP healed too, which is also really good. So I'm just gonna go back real quick and just heal. Really quick heal, because the next part of the village is right here, and this is the most optimal time to do it, in my opinion. It really is. So I'm not gonna catch another spot slime or another cacti ball for a while. Simply because I don't want to waste a beef jerky on it really in the beginning of the game. I just rather get the experience points. Yes, you technically get the experience points if you gain them, but it's not worth stocking them. Yes, you could have multiple monsters of the same type, just like in Pokemon. You can catch a bunch of Rattatas if you want to. So, he pushes this guy out of the way. It's old man. And now you are introduced to the first cave of the game, sort of. In this cave here, is inside the well. There are 2 more monsters here, and that is the Mad Candle and the Giant Worm. And the Giant Worm has the first skill that you see. It's Beast Cut right there. And Beast Cut does extra damage towards beasts. I'm going to play a beef jerky here, because these guys are better than the monsters that I have now. Except for Slash, you want to pretty much keep Slash. And Mad Candle just used the second ability we've seen of the game, which is Blaze. And that's also a very good attack in the beginning of the game. So Giant Worm was defeated. Now, to note, when all your monsters die, that's it. They also don't gain any experience if they're dead in battle. So they didn't join me. Remember, beef jerky is not a guaranteed chance. So one of my monsters is dead. So what does that mean? It means that he doesn't gain any experience, but it also means that the other two gain more experience. So I probably would have only gained 4 experience for that fight against the Mad Candle, and the giant worm. I accidentally hit Flea by accident. I actually meant to use a beef jerky there. I'm gonna use it right here because I'm hoping that my guys team up on one monster, but they aren't doing it because their intelligence isn't high enough. And it's more important to heal Slash than anything. Pretty much all your other guys can die, but Slash is the most important character. So if the other guys are dying, don't worry about them. Like, literally, you can ignore them. They're just kind of to help move things along. And once again, I didn't get anything, so I'm actually going to leave really quick and see if I can heal up once again, because I took a lot of damage. And this is the first instance of a ambush. So whenever they say monsters attacked without warning, that's what they mean. And when they attack without warning, essentially what happens is they're going to get a first strike. And that means all of them will attack the first time. And it's going to do a lot of damage relatively quickly. Okay, great. Finally got another monster. This one here, yes, we're going to take Flora with us. We're going to replace Pian. Now, I got an item, but it's not really that great. I'm going to go out really quickly, go heal. And like I said, we're not even at the first mini-boss of this level yet, and I've already technically done some grind. I know, it's ridiculous, but it's how it is. It's how this game is, and which is why I recommend you play it on emulator and anything else. Now, as you can tell, I finally got my first skill of the game, which is really, really nice. So he has Beast Cut, and you're probably wondering, well, what happened to the spot slime I had? It works like in Pokemon. Goes pretty much to a PC. Goes back to the farm with Taro. You talk to your sister. She has your monster. Don't worry about it. You still have him. He still gains experience. You don't have to really worry about too much. So obviously, walking over leaves will give you leaf-based items. There's some that cure poison, some that cure paralysis, and then some that do whatever pretty much it is that you need it to. But you don't really need to worry about that right now. The ones that are important, if you see one that looks like a piece of meat, go and pick it up, because you're going to need it no matter what, because you want to obviously get as many monsters as possible and tow with you. So anyways, we're going to come back down this way here once again, because these guys drop the most experience. Obviously they're really difficult, but at the same time, experience, right? I'm actually going to drop another jerky, because I do want a Mad Candle. Just to make the first part of this game go by relatively quicker. Okay, so what Flora just did was he loosed Beast Cut, but you obviously didn't see anything that said like he missed or anything. That means he was going to attack a dead monster, and that was Mad Candle A. That's what happens when a monster tries to attack something that's technically already dead or something unattackable. So in that sense, you can technically miss a turn, and that's all based on the intelligence stat. I accidentally forgot to drop a piece of meat on this Mad Candle, but hopefully he still joins the party with me. And then we're going to come to the first mini-boss of the game. And that's this beaver in here. And this beaver in here is really, really strong. I always like him. He's usually really, really good, too. And there's a good chance that I'm actually probably going to die in this fight. If I do, what we're going to do is we're going to go and attempt to do something. Now, as you can see, Flora's been attempting to do Beast Cut, but he has no MP, so I don't know what that means. So when the wild command here really affects it is the command attribute here. When you go click on plan, You can choose what skill they're going to use, if they're going to guard up or if they're just going to attack normally. Charge, Mixed, and Defense are just 3 commands that you can always choose throughout the game. It's called a plan, and basically, you don't care what he does as long as he does an offensive tactic, if he mixes it up between offensive and defensive tactics, and if he does a defensive tactic. Now, these 3 commands are when you can't actually use the command function in the game. The command function is only used in the wild battles or in certain boss battles, not all of them. So this is one of the boss battles that you can use it in, and when you press fight, it just chooses all 3 monsters to just go and fight. Just this command right here. So if I choose, let's say, slash the fight, he can fight. Flora, who has a probably really high wild, if I choose her to fight, she might not fight. Same thing with Jiko. And see, Flora ignored orders because her wild is high, and that happens relatively quickly. But so it's just better, like I said, to just really use the attack command, just the fight command, just the fight option from the main menu, because you don't have to worry about, them ignoring your orders for right now because they have too high of a wild. Don't waste giving your meat to this beaver. He's just not going to accept it, and then you just lose the item. So don't lose it. You're going to gain a lot of experience from this fight. And this is pretty much the first third of the first level right here. Don't worry, you're gonna see things that are gonna be a little bit faster than this, hopefully, later on, but it's just a tutorial. I'm just kind of going through everything. And now he's telling you that the only reason why he's here is because people have stolen his home, and so that solves the water shortage. But we get to now explore the rest of this cave, technically. And it actually takes us to the next town that we were in previously. Now, this is a new enemy here called the Spooky. Now, the Spooky is a zombie-type creature, so he's actually going to take less damage from freezing attacks. Yes, I'm going to take the Spooky. I'm not going to send a monster home because technically the plant is stronger because he's level 9. If he was still level 7 when I picked him up originally, I probably wouldn't be using. I'd probably switch him out for the Spooky. That's an instance of an enemy dodging your attack. Your enemy can dodge your attack, which means he takes absolutely no damage. Same way you can get a critical hit. It's about the same. It's pretty even in that regard. In hit chance. Not too much really to say. Just remember, accurate intelligence is really important to deciding what your monster actually will do in battle. It decides what kind of commands they actually will choose on charge, mixed, or defense. So essentially, you come after here and you follow the king, and you're supposed to follow him all the way to go to the treasury and see what happened to get your title bell. And he says they were jumped off by thieves and they lost everything. All these guys look at each other, and basically they reluctantly say that they're going to help the king. Because he's not really liked. Alright, and that will be the end of this first section of what to do. I'm going to do a little bit of grinding before the next mini-boss, or technically the boss, of the game, and just do a little bit of grinding, then I'm going to head on over there. Alright, so I'm going to stop it here really quickly. The next episode probably won't be as long, simply because it's just coming from this part to the next. But until then, I'll talk to you guys later.